this evening with the Central players. I can guarantee you're in for a treat because anytime you get this bunch together, one never knows what will happen. Their play tonight is another one in a series of events that we've had over the past year in commemoration of Central's 175th anniversary. We've had some concerts, we've had some historical displays and some comments and worship and so forth, and this is part of it. We're heading into the final events, which will be the weekend of November 9 and 10. There'll be an MYF reunion here on that Saturday night, correct? Saturday night, and then the special worship service and luncheon following that on Sunday the 10th. So we hope you will take advantage of those opportunities. But for now, I'm going to get out of the way and let us enjoy this evening with the Central players.
I love that old hymn. Don't you?
Yes.
Faith of our fathers. Let's hear about the faith of our fathers. That old hymn, I just love it. Faith of our fathers. It reminds us all of the voices, all the souls who have come before us. Just look at this beautiful building.
Thank you.
Planned and paid for and built by fathers and mothers who came before us, wanting to spread God's love throughout this area. I'm glad you stopped by tonight because I have a story for you. It's the story of these voices, these memories of the birth of Central United Methodist Church in Endicott 175 years ago. And it's the story of all of you and how we came to be who we are today. It's our story. We started out as part of a circuit of churches without a building of our own. In 1838, we became incorporated as the First Society of the Methodist Episcopal Church at Union Corners. We met together in a store right there at the corner of Endicott and Union Street. Men and women brought their pennies, their coins, to save up for a church building. This is how much they believed in their purpose, their reason for being together. In 1842, those pennies were enough to buy some property. This building cost $1,100 and was right at the corner of North Liberty and Union Street. It was a start, but they kept saving their pennies. More pennies, more saving, and finally this existing structure was built in 1871 and 1872. And we still collect pennies to help support our children's supper.
Listen, if we're going to build a church with a steeple, I want it to be the biggest, highest steeple in the area.
Yes, I agree. We will be known for the tallest steeple around.
Absolutely.
Well, they did build the tallest steeple, but the minister at the time, Reverend A.J. Van Clapp, had his own opinion of competition like this.
My congregation, it is wrong to willfully build this steeple in a way to try and be superior over other churches. Other people of God, this kind of pride is not condoned by Jesus. And you know what? Not 3 months after I preached that sermon, lightning struck the steeple several times. And the steeple needed to be removed. So we as a people learned that greatness belongs to God, not to us.
Well, our forefathers and mothers in this church made a mistake about that steeple, but they were good men and women. Let's listen in on a trustees meeting from long ago.
There isn't enough. We just don't have the money to pay for the coal to heat the church.
What will we do? Think of all the services, the activities. We can't have people out here in the bitter cold. Think of our children, our elderly.
I've got a few dollars to give. That'll buy some coal.
I can spare some money too.
I've got some money.
I can spare some money for coal.
Everyone chipped in a little bit. The coal was purchased, the church was heated, and the work of Christ went on. Because that's who we were here at Central all those years ago, and that's who we are now. In the late 1920s, it became obvious that the church had outgrown its building, and a new building project was planned.
The quilt that hangs in the back of the sanctuary was made in 1926 and 1927 to raise funds for the new building. The pattern was a common pattern used during the time by women's societies as a fundraiser. On it are the names of all those who gave money toward a new church building. Many of them are your own relatives, and many were community members who didn't attend, but who knew the value of Central's presence here in our community.
The money was raised, and the last regular service was held in the old building on October 17, 1926. Services were held in the Elvin Theater until the new building was ready. When construction was finished, the new building had been connected to the old, and thus the two buildings became one. The mission of the past had been joined to the mission of the future. The new church was dedicated on October 9th, 1927. Bishop Perry, who spoke at the dedication, proclaimed that great crowds filled the handsome edifice. Memorials that were presented at the dedication included the altar cross, individual communion sets, organ console, hymn boards, pulpit furniture, acousticon, silver vase, and the Gethsemane window. Although this is a list of things, each item represents another yes. Another instance where someone decided to give for the greater good of the people of God.
And under that Gethsemane window, that image of Christ himself praying for God's guidance and help, was buried the cornerstone. That cornerstone contained artifacts and documents for future generations. There came a time when church elders wanted to take those artifacts out of the cornerstone for safekeeping and preservation. But the cornerstone could not be found. For years, in spite of relentless searching, the cornerstone eluded everyone. But Mel Livingston would not give up. He descended into the crawl space and searched until he found the cornerstone. And buried within it was a letter to us.
Greetings to a future generation. Perhaps some who in distant days read these words may think of this day of 1927 as the good old times. Let no one deceive you into thinking that the good days are in the past. As we sing Faith of Our Fathers and think of those in generations gone who, in spite of dungeon, fire, and sword, carried on the work of the kingdom as best they could and have gone to their reward, so may you think of us, not contending with the dungeon, fire, and sword, but nevertheless against evil forces in high places, playing the part of valiant soldiers of Jesus Christ, and now having finished the task laid upon us, watch your efforts, and if possible, help you from the other side as you fulfill the demands of your day and generation. In spite of present confusion with and without the church, we feel that Jesus Christ is leading his people on and on to the more perfect day. Until that time, we pray that you be faithful to him. Written by the official board, Joseph R. Pennell, pastor. Same time thinking of you here today. And so we remember our past and think of future generations, all solidly set on the cornerstone of Christ. There was one step that needed to be made in the to have more physical space here at Central United Methodist. A step that began in April of 1958 with the slogan, "Let's make room for all." At that time, there was a serious need for more space for Christian education and fellowship. Let's listen in to the groundbreaking for that new space, which was held on June 28, 1959.
We pray that an educational building may rise here for the purpose of Christian education, for the study of the Scriptures, and the development of Christian character.
We break this ground today.
For the purpose of hallowing of family life.
We break this ground today.
For a place where the young and old may be awakened and informed.
We break this ground today.
For a place where youth shall come to worship, pause to pray, and rise to serve.
We break this ground today.
Come to worship, pause to pray, rise to serve. We have just done that here at Central. We've gone by many names, but our name today, Central United Methodist Church, reminds us to seek that which binds us to our past and our future, that which is central to our mission, and that is the love of Jesus Christ. Let's listen to some of the voices who can speak about spreading that love of Christ through our Christian education programs.
Central has always led the way in the moral and religious education of children and adults through a progressive and forward-looking Christian education. In 1920 or 1921, 6 couples met in the basement of the old United Methodist Church for the purpose of organizing a new Sunday school class for young married couples. This group became the Youthos class. They raised money for Bibles, hymnals, made and sold birthday calendars, and hosted many talent nights and programs.
Little children can be unpredictable and mischievous, even in church. Here's another story. Lola Barron served as superintendent of the Sunday school kindergarten for over 50 years. She would bring me, her child, Ellis, wrapped in blankets on Sunday morning, and would frequently place me on the table during the session. One time I cried out at intervals until Mom discovered that the small girls in the class were pricking me with pins. Even my own sister.
But even when they are not perfect, the children at Central know that they are loved. Charlotte wasn't attending Sunday school frequently, and Mrs. Alice Stevens was missing her. Just one phone call was all it took to show Charlotte that she was loved, valued, and she returned to Sunday school and became a regular attender and a member of the church. That personal contact meant so much to her that she still remembers it to this day.
Dick Sprague and his wife, Galise, taught the preschool class for a long time. Dick remembers one little boy who was very unhappy in the class and didn't want to stay. But Dick didn't give up on him. He paid special attention to him, looking out the window with him and talking to him until the little boy wasn't unhappy anymore. But the father was transferred and the family was moving out of the state. On the boy's last day, he hugged Dick. He didn't want to leave. That personal contact and attention meant the world to that little boy.
Through our many Christian education classes and opportunities, Central fulfills the first part of our mission by making Christ's love real. The second part of our mission is all about empowering people to share and serve. And how do we do that?
Sometime during the 1950s or 60s, the children would worship together in the little chapel in the basement, while the adults worshiped upstairs. One little girl loved to play the piano, but the fact was she didn't play very well, but her abilities were of no consequence. She was encouraged to participate no matter what.
That little girl was given an opportunity to serve, even if she wasn't perfect. In what other ways have we empowered others to serve?
For the last few years, Central's youth and adults have participated in Ramp It Up, where they build wheelchair ramps for those in need in our community.
In the 1970s, in response to the death of Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Bob Lukens and F. Jackson, an IBM employee and church member, got an idea to bring children of diverse race and background together during the summer. And thus, the summer camp program was born, bringing children of all walks of life together for Christian education and fun. Today, this program continues through existing programs at Sky Lake and Central's Fund Scholarship for children to attend.
During World War II, the Donut Ladies brought their homemade donuts to IBM and Endicott Johnson to sell to the workers to raise money for the mission of the church.
For years, we have offered a free carnival for neighborhood families. We offer music, games, cotton candy, and a caring neighborhood presence.
Our Shepherd's Supper has fed neighboring families for over 20 years.
Our clothing center, which began 40 years ago as Project Concern, provides clothing to neighboring families at no cost.
And in December, the Clothing Center hosts an annual Christmas party for the clients, and gifts are given to the families from our congregation.
We paint, we make repairs, we clean up after floods. Our van ministry serves seniors and youth alike. We teach Sunday school, and we make phone calls for the prayer chain.
The Central Players have performed plays. The congregation has performed in an outdoor living nativity pageant. We watch children in the nursery, we ring bells, we sing in the choir. We contribute to chow, especially through our annual Harvest Home Sunday. Afterwards, the youth sort the food and then play in the annual football game.
We've held quilting sessions, organized rag rug projects, and served in the Wesleyan Service Guild.
We visit shut-ins. We have We Care Sundays. We send a note, make a phone call, or say a kind word to someone in need.
We at Central are indeed a family for those with no family.
Hand in hand with our love and service is our spirit of joy. Laughter is a big part of who we are as a people. And for some reason, several stories have to do with smoke and fire.
The year was 1947, and our minister was Adrian Flood. It seemed like a regular service until his robe caught on fire. Talk about being on fire for God.
Our pastor in 1985 was Jim Baker. Painters had come during that time to refurbish the nave. And then when they were done for the day, they draped their canvas over the painted areas to protect them.
Little did they know that they had thrown the canvas right over the spotlights, and when they turned on that evening, the canvas began to smolder.
Luckily, Yvonne Baker happened to walk through the church and discovered the near disaster. There was some smoke and charring, but fortunately, no lasting damage.
Not too long ago, Dan and Dick Winchell were helping to refurbish the first floor bathrooms by sandblasting the walls, preparing them for new tile. When they finished their job and stepped out of the bathroom, they were shocked to be surrounded by firemen. Their hard work had set off the fire alarm.
Well, at least they knew smoke alarms were working. Let's hear a few more stories.
Sometime in the 1930s, a member of the choir asked to sing a solo during the anthem. He agreed and prepared, but on that morning, as it was time for his solo approaching, he got cold feet, and he turned to the choir master and said, "I can't do it, you'll have to sing it."
After Dane Weston graduated from Union High School at the age of 16, he became the church's janitor. At that time, there were 2 coal-fueled furnaces with radiators heating the upstairs. It was his first night, and he was alone in the furnace room at 10 o'clock, loading the hopper with coal. As he lifted the heavy buckets of coal to put in the hopper, Dane began to hear thump, thump. Young and alone in the dark, empty church, he began to imagine all sorts of things. Dane ran home and got his father, who went back to the church with him. As Dane continued to feed the hoppers, the sound continued, thump, thump. And his father broke the news that it was just the steam radiators warming up, and not the frightening things that Dane had imagined.
Central has a long tradition of talent nights where we come together and have a great time. But by far the most memorable talent night occurred sometime in the late 1970s when Gary Coons was our pastor. Pastor Coons was a gifted pianist and had planned to play a difficult piece that night. He chose to play The Flight of the Bumblebee. And he stepped out onto stage to play it dressed from head to toe as, you guessed it, a bumblebee.
A very large but lovable bumblebee.
The laughter is part of the glue that holds us all together. We've heard so many voices this evening, so many stories about who we were and who we are. There have been so many lives that have been touched because of people who came before us and because of the people sitting in this room now. All of whom have honored the call to love and to serve God by reaching out to others. Take a look at the stained glasses in the room. These windows are from the original church built in 1871. More than 140 years ago, people sat where you now sit, gazing at these windows, praying for much the same things we need now and desire. Love, peace, jobs, family, wholeness, forgiveness, inspiration, and hope. More than 140 years ago, people sat where you now sit, under these same windows, reaching in love to those around them, much as we still do today. As quoted in 1938 Centennial document, the heart of Central is warm. So it is still today. Thanks for sharing in our story. Let us go now and continue our story, making real the love of God through Jesus Christ and empowering people to share that love with others. Would you please stand and join in the singing of 156, the first verse, I love to tell the story.
I'd like to have the author of this marvelous play come forward, please. Mrs. Sellepack. She's back in the lounge. Okay, you'll get it afterwards. We have a gift for her. She refused to take any remuneration for it, so we decided that we needed to give her something to remember us by. We're going to give her one of the ornaments, Christmas ornaments, for your Christmas tree. that has the picture of the church on it, and also a gift certificate. So I think you did a great job. Refreshments in the lounge provided by the ladies of the church. You can't be in a Methodist church without eating. Why?
Central Church, living the gospel of Jesus Christ, being God's love with our neighbors in all places.
Joy at Central is being together for friendship.
And being together for fun.
Joy at Central is caring for one another.
In the home or in the hospital.
Central is a place that you can call home, where everyone has a place.
And there is a place for everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone. Everyone.
Central Church, across from the cider mill in Endicott, serving around the world.